Hey friends, mama. I gotta talk to you, mama. And daddy, maybe you're watching too, daddy. I don't know. So, one of my greatest joys at this time in the season of the year is going out to my garden because it doesn't take a lot of seed to produce all kinds of beautiful things. And we can pick green beans and we can cut fresh sunflowers and put them in the house, and we can dry herbs and make our home smell amazing, and we can give these things as gifts as we want, so it overflows out of our house to other families. It's just beautiful. But as you know, gardening can be hot, it can be buggy, it is dirty, it takes time. You have to wait a long time to see the production of some things are 30 days, some things are 60 days, some things are 90 days before you're ever going to pick anything off of that vine or off that plant. And so there is a level of anticipation and patience that you have to have. I want mama. I want to relate this to raising our children, right? Our children, the next generation, should be, for all people, I don't care who you are, a huge priority, because that's our people, right? This is the culture of your family that you're creating. And so for anybody who knows me personally, maybe you watch this channel, could you share this channel? Could you like my video? So other people can hear this too. Not really a huge, just if you could do that, that'd be great. Anyway, I always say, mama, you gotta be a wall. And what I mean is, children have a will and a way, and it's mostly foolishness. Now, I adore my kids. If I get to know you, I'll probably adore your kids too. I enjoy children. I think that they are a blessing from the Lord. But if they're not a blessing from the Lord, there may be something out of order. And usually it takes two. It takes the parent and the child dynamic. It's not usually just the child. There are exceptions, right? So please take all of what I'm saying with a level of grace towards you, because I am in your shoes. I am a mother too. I have two types of children, and so do you. Everybody, you might have one child. It's one of two types. All children are the same. They're either quiet defiant or outwardly defiant. And that's just the way it is. You either have the kid that you say, I said no, and they start screaming or whatever, or you have the kid that you say, I said no, they don't say much and they go and do it anyway. But there is defiance somewhere. As long as we can all come to grips with that, okay? So we have to all come to grips with, there is a level of foolishness up in our kids that we have to be a wall against. We have to set a standard, and being a wall, whenever I say, oh mama, you gotta be a wall, what I mean is, whenever you set the standard, this is what will happen in my house and this is what won't. This is how you will talk to me and this is how you won't. Your kids can't go around you. They can't go over you. They can't go through you. They cannot pass until you let them, because you're a wall. And you have to move yourself. They cannot move you. Not with their tears, not with their reasoning, not with how upset it makes them. I mean, you can have the most well-behaved child until you tell them no. And that is just truth, because nobody wants to hear no. I mean, I know adult children. I feel like an adult child. I don't want anybody to tell me no either, right? But our mark of maturity is we learn to take no well. And we had better. You don't get very far in relationship or in life until you do. Now, the reason why I started with gardening is because in my heart, I see parenting, successful raising of a family, and a creating of a home culture as something called seed parenting. And that means my decisions for how I'm going to treat my child and how I'm going to talk to them and what I'm going to allow them to do and what I'm not going to allow them to do, I am always re-gauging it to the idea of seed parenting. Is this actually the seed I want to sow? I say no. And I expect my kids to do what I say when I tell them. And I think to myself regularly and will say out loud, baby, if I was your age, I would feel the same way. I wouldn't want to do this and I wouldn't like it, but this is what you're going to do. And the reason why that's important, for instance, okay, this is no shame on you. Do your thing. You need to find out what is the vision for your family. What is seed parenting for you? Yesterday we had a piano recital. Well, during the piano recital, I don't let my kids look at a screen to keep them quiet. Now my kids are 5 and up, 6 and up, to keep them quiet or anything. And I normally have not, because the seed I'm trying to plant is, when we're in this place doing this thing, you're going to be quiet. And whenever they were little, was that very hard? Did we have to walk out sometimes? Yes. Did I have to have a conversation in the parking lot with my maybe 3-year-old and say, look at my face, look at my face. We're going to get water and we're going to go potty. And when we walk in, you're going to be quiet. And if they decided, no, I'm not, they may get a swat, maybe. They may get usually a conversation. Like whenever we go home, do you want to just stay in your room? Or would you like to play with your sisters? And usually it's play with sisters. And I say, okay, then you can sit with me and I'll scratch your back. And we're going to sit quietly and listen to the other kids play the piano. We might have sat in a back pew closer to the door, because the seed I want to plant is for the future. See, I'm looking out there. I'm looking that way with my decisions today. I'm looking out there. What is the tone I'm setting? What is the expectation that I'm setting for my child? And so I try to apply that idea to all of my life. The easier thing to do than planting a garden is to say, like, if I really wanted corn, but I wanted like the best organic, no sprayed, just the most delicious corn, I could either grow the corn, like if I knew that's what I wanted to do, but I started tilling the ground and it was hot outside and I had adversity towards it, and I could say, I'm just going to drop the money and go buy the corn. But how much would I have lost by not getting the experience of growing the corn that I really do want? I do want. You might not want. You might have to put a different application for something in your life. But for me, that's what I want. I want the experience. I want to see something go from seed to food on my table. I also want my children to see that. I want them to understand the work of food and what food is and where food comes from. This is a natural process of life. God made us so we have to have food. So let's take that and run with it, right? I lose all that. So for me, does it make it extremely difficult? Are my kids unhappy sometimes? Yeah. But obedient children who understand boundary are happier children because they don't stay in trouble. Now, that is because I had to take the time to sit down and discuss with my husband and think on my own and pray and say, what do I want this to look like? What seed am I planting? And I have to tell you, you may go years and years. I have a very strong-willed child. And I went years and years and years with her without any outward expression of this seed that I knew I was rightly planting in her heart. But in the last couple of years, I have seen the fruit of kindness, obedience, responsibility starting to grow in her. And it is a beautiful, huge blessing to have a child that grows up and knows how to be a part of a family without disrupting it. Now, my kids make mistakes and they do the wrong thing. That's not what I mean at all. It's not that it's a perfect life, but what it is that the seed is starting to grow. This kind of seed parenting, mama, you being the wall, this is going to take your thought. This doesn't just, our culture has totally lost this. Our culture as a whole has completely lost this. I mean, I've watched, and not in criticism, but I've watched mamas like beg their kids to eat their French fries. Now, who's in control if mama and daddy are begging a kid to eat? The kid is. Who's supposed to be in control? mom and daddy. So how do they switch that role? Well, that's easy, because honestly, you are smarter than your kids. You are smarter than your kids. So am I. We might think sometimes, oh my gosh, whose child is this? But you know, the answer is, you can get up and go play once you've eaten your french fries, and you just walk off. And if you come back and they got up anyway, now there's a punishment to ensue. There's a loss of a privilege. But we never beg anybody to eat their food. That's totally on them. That's a monkey on their back, not on ours. So what's the seed that I'm planting? Personal responsibility. Is that seed really important to me? Do I walk around in a world where I see many adults who are just victims and take no personal responsibility? Yes, I do. So is that a big priority for me? Yes, it is. So I want to encourage you to be the wall. You can do it. And maybe think about, maybe this idea of seed parenting is something that resonates with your heart. And you're like, yeah, okay, we need to think about some situations. You know, you can think about the few things that usually go on that you're correcting your child for, and think, how can I seed parent this? How can I put this monkey totally on their back and take it off of mine? And for me, this idea matured me, because it took me out of a reactive state and a quick to discipline to a thoughtful state where I had time to consider what my children were doing, because I have trapped myself in my home with my children. On purpose. I put myself in my home with my kids because I want to be the influence in their life, because I love them and their dad loves them like nobody else. It goes, God loves them, and then it's us. Nobody else is going to love them like we love them. And we're going to do what we do out of our love and kindness towards them. That's going to be our motivation. And we know nobody else will have that the same way we do, and we're going to give it to them. And it's a long journey, mama. You start with no gray hair, you probably going to end with almost all gray hair. You start young, you start 20, 25, 27 for me. You end 45, 50. This is a huge chunk of my life, your life. So let's not squander it. Don't rush it. Let the kids grow up. Be the wall. Consider it. Will you consider it?